Episode 150 is here. What do you got to say about it?
Happy 150.
We did it.
We did it.
It took about two and a half years.
Did you think we'd get this far?
No.
Right on.
But
thanks for the vote of confidence, asshole.
Like Shania Twain said, it looks like we made it.
Oh, Jesus Christ. You know what? We went 150 episodes without a fucking Shania Twain reference, and here you go.
Hey, I think about that woman's face every day.
Well, okay. It is...
Usually it takes us longer than this to go off the rails.
In celebration of 150 episodes, I'll let that slide.
Okay, thank you.
Well, it's the least I can do.
Well, our guests for this episode are Scott Squires and Janna Jordan Squires.
Yes, definitely.
And as you know, 150 is a significant number here. We like to, like people do, 100. We celebrated with Silvermine because they were one of the first bands we had on, and we did that lengthy interview with them.
Definitely.
And as we were approaching 150, we thought, we'd been talking for a while anyway about having Scott and Janna back. Mm-hmm. We thought, well, this was the perfect number to do it because they were the first band that we ever interviewed.
Yes.
Like the first couple episodes, we had a couple friends on with us. Mike Thrasher and Seth Carnes joined us for different discussions, but Scott and Janna were the first people that we actually interviewed. So here we are, 143 episodes later, doing it once again.
Glad to have them back, and it's an honor to have them back on the show. And we shouldn't have waited this long. But it is nice to have them back for this kind of landmark episode. So it all worked out.
Yeah, definitely. And it's also landmark because Down for Five is back.
Yes, the legendary Down for Five.
Yes, they've been on hiatus now for, I think it's right at 4 years.
Okay.
Roughly. Maybe, I think she said almost 4 years.
Yeah.
They're kicking it back into gear, and their first show is actually this coming Friday night. And we're going to talk about all that here in just a second.
Okay.
But before we get into that, we need to mention this In Flames EP. I just
right.
remembered.
Yeah.
We didn't talk about it last time. We're going to talk about it this time.
Let's do it.
So In Flames has this new EP. It's only 4 songs, cover songs. 3 of them are studio and 1's live.
Yeah. Down, Wicked, and No Good.
There you go.
It's called, right?
Yeah. They're a band that both of us have loved for a long time, but also lost interest in as well.
Yeah.
And we've talked about them the last couple times they put out albums since we started this podcast. And, I listen to everything they do. I give everything a shot, but the last at least 3 albums have done nothing for me.
Yeah, they've left me pretty cold as well.
And, it was a slow decline. It's not like I'm not saying I dislike them, but like you said, it's just kind of cold, right? Because they're nothing like they were, and they've evolved over time, and they're free to do that.
Yes.
I can't fault them for that, but it lost my interest as yours.
Yeah. What they did and their live shows were so fucking great for so long. What they evolved into, that's great, and I have no problem with it. It's just not pleasing to my ears, but that doesn't mean anything. I'm just a big old blockhead. What do I know? And you gotta, as a band, you gotta do what feels good to you. So, you're gonna have some evolution. You're gonna have some changes. A lot of bands do it, but I ain't gotta listen to it. and really this EP, it's not, it doesn't harken back to anything, but it's still really good. And it was still, surprisingly, I enjoyed it way more than I thought I did. And it was just 4 songs.
Yeah, I'm the same way. When I first listened, like I said, I'll listen to anything they put out, but I thought, well, even though it's covers, and at least most of the songs, I like. Yeah. I've never been huge on Depeche Mode, but I thought, I'm going to listen to it. I'll probably think it's all right, but never listen to it again.
Yeah.
And surprisingly, that wasn't the case this time around. And surprisingly, the Depeche Mode song, It's No Good, is by far and away the best track on here.
It's my favorite. I really enjoyed their rendition of it. I really did.
Yeah, it really has that feel of what Depeche Mode was, but obviously amped up into that In Flames world.
That's right.
Of slight electronic elements, but metal. I hate to say that a cover album is a thing that kind of brought me back around here for a moment, but hey, if they came to town, I'd still go see them.
I would go see them anyway. Yeah, definitely. That goes without saying.
Right. Well, the interesting thing is when I first heard Down in a Hole, I thought there's going to be a lot of people that don't like this, but I've been kind of surprised at the stuff I've seen, the few things I've seen online. People are talking about it good, and it's interesting because musically it's nothing like the original.
Gotcha.
And it's got a lot more electronic elements than even a lot of newer Aaron Flames stuff does.
Yeah.
But it's still really cool because, he sings in that same melody and still has a lot of emotion to the song. And I don't know, it jumped out at me more than I thought it would. Because when I first saw that they were doing that, I thought this is going to be weird. Mm. So I kind of like that they did it nothing like the original,
Yeah. Well, and I kind of figured before I even heard any of it, I figured they'd kind of do their own thing with each song.
Yeah.
And they should.
Yeah, and that cover of Hurt I thought was pretty cool because it almost in a way is kind of, you've got two iconic versions of that song. You've got the original by Nine Inch Nails and then you've got the cover by Johnny Cash.
Yeah.
And this song kind of almost fits between the two, which I thought was cool.
Yeah.
Obviously it sounds nothing like Cash, but it kind of almost has that emotion to it, but also still has that same feel of the original one as well.
Yeah.
And I thought that was kind of a cool way to go about it.
Do you like In Flames version better or Seven Dust version better?
I completely forgot Seven Dust did that until you said that.
Bam.
Yeah, there you go.
That's something for you to chew on.
Hey, I'm going to say something that most people don't agree with. I like Nine Inch Nails version better than Johnny Cash's.
Well, then I quit. I'm done.
There you go. You can't handle it.
Just kidding.
Now I got to go listen to that. That was on that Southside Double Wide Live thing, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I'll check that out. Well, yeah, check out this In Flames EP if you haven't. It's worth a listen if you are into In Flames, at least.
For sure.
Or any of those songs. It's also got Chris Isaac's Wicked Game on there, and that's cool as well.
Yeah.
Well, this Friday night, we've got a show at the Shrine.
Okay.
Dead Orchestra, Doxy, Driver, and Oklahoma Brace.
Nice. That's
one hell of a lineup
right there. I tell you what.
Yeah, it's only $5, and that's one hell of a lineup. Dead Orchestra's first time in Tulsa since sometime in the 90s.
Oh, man.
I assume.
Yeah, oh, it's got to be.
And then those other three bands have all been on this podcast. Doxy most recently, and then Driver and Oklahoma Brace multiple times. So go back and check all those episodes out.
Yeah, for sure.
And then this Saturday is Not So Silent Night.
Okay.
And that's the event that Jamie from Impact Events has put on every year.
Okay.
And this is actually, you said, the final one they're doing.
Yeah.
But all the proceeds go to kids in need and that kind of thing. So it's a great event, obviously.
That's right.
A
charitable event.
Yeah. And this year, Jamie's band, 13 Minutes, which kick ass. We played them on here before.
Yes.
They're on the bill, along with Soul Embraced and Death Therapy, Ruby Wrath, and the Rebel Hearts. And there's some other artists on it as well. But, I mean, get out there. It's just one of those good events in Tulsa. I'm sad to see it go, but, Jamie from Impact Events has been on here as well, talking about all that stuff. So
yeah.
Go back and check that out as well. This Friday.
Yeah.
Down for 5 will be opening up at the IDL Ballroom for Lita Ford, Jack Russell's Great White.
Yeah.
So this is Down for 5's return to the stage. Like we said, after a few years, we're about to get into this talk where they talk about how all this came back together. Really cool that their return show is on a show like this. So, because a lot of times when a band, an independent band or something, it's hard to get the word out there, because we kind of just talked about that on a podcast that's coming out soon.
Yeah.
You can't get the word out. People aren't out there putting up flyers like they lose. People aren't out there looking for flyers like they used to.
Yeah.
And just doing a Facebook event, you can't ever always get people out there and get the word out that, hey, this band's back. So you're on a bill with a couple national artists that draw a crowd.
Yeah, what a way to come back.
Yeah.
It's going to be I hope they're ready for it. I'm ready for it. It's been quite a while since we've seen Down for Five. It's going to be a great show. Poster Child's also on the bill. So,
right.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, Down for Five's a band that we caught many times throughout the years when they were together.
That's right.
We saw them at Rock Loma 2 different times, and then of course many times at clubs in Tulsa like Cimarron and Torchy's and all that, wherever else. $2.
Definitely.
Remember back at that?
Yeah, I remember that. $2. God, I remember those days.
Right.
I don't know if I want to remember some of them. Some of them I don't remember, but that's a whole other podcast.
Yeah.
Fucking $2 saloon. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Well, let's quit wasting time.
Yeah, let's, what are we doing here?
This is quite a lengthy chat, so I think we should just jump right into it. This is Scott and Janna from Down for Five and Rocket Science.
Putting a little video together for it too, like just a little slideshow of whoever's playing at that moment, their picture flashes up.
So is it just like one song and there's like a whole bunch of people?
So it's like We Are Stars, basically.
Exactly.
It's that chord progression.
Yeah.
I'll just give you just a little taste of it, and then we'll get on with the interview because I know y'all are busy. But there's some amazing stuff on there, but
Soup Bones on there.
It's like for guitar
it's
players.
Shredders,
Yeah. It's like 10.5 minutes long. It just goes on and on and on and on. But the players that, or anybody that loves guitar players will love it. It's cool. Let's see if I can find it.
But they were going to do a bunch of originals, and Janna came up with the.
Yeah, that was
how don't we just do the. Like it was stars, like
that's what I saw. Where I think it was supposed to be a bunch of songs or something.
Mm-hmm. And then it turned out to be "We Are Stars," the actual. And they were talking about maybe getting all local vocalists and actually just redo the song.
Yeah.
I still think they should have done that because well, you know what Mortensen said. No, that's just kind of cheesy. It's like, dude. No, it's got to break up all the playing, and now it's just like one big long. I'll just give you a little taste of it, and then we'll get on. There's some good stuff on there. Soup Bone's insane. He's really good.
So what's the plan? Or just once it's completed, is it just going to be put out there? Here you go.
I think so. Yeah, I mean, Mark is getting real good at recording, and this kind of stuff just floats his boat. I think he's just I think they just thought it'd be a fun little thing to showcase Tulsa guitar players. I don't think it's gonna go any further than just put the video out and enjoy. Here you go. But all those Kiss songs he's done, those are nearing completion, right? And he told us last time we talked to him, they're just gonna put them on CDs and throw them out at DMS shows.
Wow!
But man, some of that stuff is really
yeah. And you sang on a couple of those, right?
Yeah, I did.
I remember you sent me those.
Yeah. Making Love and Shout It Out Loud.
Did Shout It Out Loud with Mikey Jameson. Mikey did the Gene Simmons part.
All right.
He used to sing for... Why am I blanking out on all the bands tonight?
He played with Ben Hosterman in...
New Science.
He was in New Science, I think, wasn't he? And then what was that one band that back in the 90s? They'd play all over the place. Ben was in that band too.
Yeah, that could be any.
Yeah, I know. Ben's been in so many bands. I don't know.
Especially back then.
So how's everybody doing?
Good. Great. We're glad to be here.
Did you guys go to GNR?
No.
Did you go to Foo Fighters?
No. I'm like concerted out for the year.
I hear you.
On all these big shows and stuff.
I hear you.
We've got Alter Bridge and Sons of Texas. Oh man, that's like just in a couple weeks. And that's like, I was done buying tickets. Done.
Yeah,
so.
it adds up quick.
Yeah.
I will say, I went as not a real big GNR fan, and I left there as a big fan.
Really? That's good. That's good then.
It was one of the top shows I've ever seen.
I mean, you see all these online videos.
Yeah.
All the people bad-mouthing, Axel or, whatever, voice-wise, and things that you hear and all these rumors and stuff. And then you actually go there and, got the PA at full blast, and it's like a whole nother ball game. It's so hard to judge concerts these days, especially online, because we're basically judging things that are, going through that phone,
Exactly.
that little microphone, and it's all squashed. All the highs and stuff is going right through there.
Yeah.
And granted, we all know his voice struggles and stuff, and I was even told that at the beginning of the tour, his voice was great and spot on. When he was doing the AC/DC stuff and all that, and his voice was much better. And then, so now, because they're doing the 3.5 hour long shows, that now that he's kind of having to have like Slash play more guitar stuff, like some solos and things, to give him more breaks.
Yeah.
Because I guess at the start of the tour, he was singing more.
Wow.
And now they added, some guitar solos and having a guitar acoustic thing going on or whatever. Just like, I mean, I don't know how many solos there were, but it seemed like there was probably 4 or 5 solos.
But it was just so, like, anybody that plays guitar, it was such a treat.
That's awesome.
Such a treat. It was just such good playing. And that guy, the other guy, Richard, that plays, he compliments Slash so well.
Yeah.
It was fantastic.
Well, he went last year to like 2 of them and was like completely front row.
Really?
So,
were they good last year?
Yeah.
So you felt the same way?
It's probably, I don't know. I've seen a lot of cool things, but it might be the best experience I ever had.
That's the word. That's the word, man.
Being on the rail, it's my favorite band of all time.
Yes.
So,
experience.
just right there, and 5 feet away, it was in the stadium, so 10 feet away.
See, we were in nosebleeds, and we had tears in our eyes. It's like,
yeah, it was like, the sound was perfect. I mean, it was like,
it was just magical.
It didn't matter where I sat.
Mm-hmm.
Because the experience, I mean, you could see, we had pretty good seats for nosebleeds, I would think. I've had worse. We went to AC/DC on the Black Ice tour, and it was raining, and there's actually black ice on the street.
Yeah.
And
we were in the last row on that.
Yep.
Yeah, I think we were too, man. Yeah, it was way up there.
It was horrible. And
the show was good, but the seats were horrible.
Yes. And the show was good, but I don't remember like the sound being like it was at GNR. At GNR, it was like crystal clear. Like it was a concert. I mean, it felt like you were basically on the lower sections, even way up. I mean, it was that loud.
Wow.
I bet the people further down were like, "Whoa!" Give me some earplugs. But I thought it was awesome. I mean, just start song. What was it?
It's so easy.
It's so easy. Right into was it Crazy or whatever? Fucking Crazy, whatever.
I don't remember the exact order, but man, it was just relentless. Just hardly any stoppages. Very little talking. We could go on
Mr.
and on
Brownstone
about
was the
this show,
second song, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think that's right.
Yeah.
Then they do crazy stuff like Wichita Lineman.
Yeah.
And they did it so great. It was so just out of left field and
Soundgarden. They did Black Holes
Hole
like they did like tributes to a lot of the people that have died just recently.
Wow.
They did
no Linkin Park though.
No. They did Soundgarden, and they did the Wichita Lineman, and can't remember. They did something else.
Wish You Were Here, but it was instrumental. It was just like a guitar
they did
thing.
that
It was
going on,
great, man. Wow, it was great. Anyway, enough of that. But it was really super great. I was kind of hoping you guys went just because I wanted to see if you felt the same way we did.
I don't know. I just, like I said,
He's been waiting until this was on to give me shit.
Well, I wouldn't even do it now, but I can. I will say one thing. He texted me and he was like, "Man, if Metallica was in town tonight, would you go, even if the seats were terrible?" Because that's my absolute. And I was like, "Of course."
Right.
That's like, you need to go. Why didn't you go?
Right, no brainer, right?
So, why didn't you go? Oh,
tired, right?
Yeah.
My whole thing was I'm just trying to save some money, and no matter where I'm at in that building, it's not going to compare to the 2 shows I saw last year.
I get that.
Yeah, I totally got that. I just had to give you a run.
But, you know, the cool thing that I witnessed, like, I'm like you, like, how can you... Man, it was cool to see the whole stage and that, like, from that perspective, because you basically saw the whole show. You weren't just like dialed into one person that was coming your way, you know, rocking out in that one spot, and you're having to look around. You got to see like everything.
The roadies running out there.
Yeah, you get to watch the roadies running there, pick up the mic stand. Axel's throwing it around everywhere, and they're, you know, having to clean up after everybody, you know, and it was amazing watching it all go down, you know, and it's kind of like, you know, just
it's like a bird's eye view.
Right.
Everything.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was cool. I mean, you see how everyone's kind of spreads out, and then how they kind of come together, and then move forward, and then the explosions go off. You know, I mean, that you got to be on a timed situation. I'm sure, like each probably song on their set list is probably a different color to say, hey, don't go in certain areas on these songs, you know.
Yeah, you end up like James Hetfield and walk into a...
Right.
Because, I mean, they're just walking around on those ramps, and then when they're not walking, I mean, there's fire and shit just exploding everywhere. So, you know, you'd probably need to know exactly where, you know, where you're supposed to be at all times.
Definitely.
I mean...
So, last comment about that show. Did Axel throw his microphone in the audience at the show you saw?
Yeah.
He did?
Yeah.
I wonder if he gets those back, because he did that here, too.
That's a lot of...
That's a lot of money.
He probably gets boxes of them from whatever brand.
Yeah, true.
It's like throwing a pick out to him. probably.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God.
And they're making so much money off this damn tour
Did
anyways.
you see if Wikipedia is a solid source? I doubt it is, but it said 430 million.
It's staggering, yeah, because I've heard numbers like that, like on the radio and stuff. It's insane.
Man, what are we doing wrong?
Yeah, and we're in the wrong racket, guys.
But I will tell you, I don't remember which show it was, because I went to Dallas and Houston, but one of them, during November Rain, like the first couple minutes into it, like it sounded weird, but I didn't really think much of it. And then all of a sudden he just like slams on his piano and just like stops playing. And so they're kind of like,
No kidding.
and everybody's kind of looking around and thinking, this is the moment where it ends.
This is the
Wow.
meltdown.
So how did that resolve?
And he just like looks back and he's just got going like this to the side of the stage, and then like I guess like whoever roadie guys, you know, they're like this and that, and he's just like turns around, he's like, it's not fucking working.
Oh,
and
no.
within 30 seconds they had another grand piano out there. There was one in the back.
You're kidding me.
Like a back of
A
grand
back?
piano. They
Wow.
brought it out there. He moves over to that and they
I believe it though.
Fucking cool.
Yeah, here
Isn't
the
that great?
piano went brrr, and then when it was done, it went brrr, back down below the stage.
Wow.
Oh,
Just
okay.
like, yeah, just there and gone in a split second.
That's awesome.
Super cool. Anyway, that's probably all you want to hear about Guns N' Roses. It was great. That's all I can say.
Right on. Well, so what are your thoughts about Trans-Siberian Orchestra? That's what I was going to open with.
Go ahead, go ahead
you know-
and alienate the rest of Tulsa here.
Did I miss something? Or?
Yeah, you
Oh,
did.
probably my post.
Yeah.
I saw a commercial, and it's like almost every year you see these commercials on Trans-Siberian Orchestra. You know, how they kind of beef it all up, and it's all the progressive
How's that go?
Christmas opera songs or
You're not a
whatever.
fan, in other words, right?
It's like at first, you know, I was like, yeah, this is kind of cool, you know. And I remember like you'd see the videos on YouTube of the Christmas lights, you know, the house, you know what I'm talking about, where it show like it was the commercial or whatever.
Yeah.
And I think it was kind of like that.
Synced up to that, yeah.
And
You remember you and I went with Mom to see them, right?
yeah, we went and we were in the nosebleeds there.
We were. And we didn't last
And
the
at
whole
first
time
I
through.
thought, this is a cool show. But then it just got, I don't know, this is boring to me. It's like...
I think we're too intellectually simple for Trans-Siberian Orchestra.
Yeah,
I mean,
it just
I
didn't
think
feel like... I think I went there thinking, like, I'm going to go see a concert. And to me, it didn't feel like a concert to me. It just felt like I was at a play or like a, you know, a musical opera or whatever.
We're just simple folk.
Because those parts where it drops down and it's like 4 chicks out there singing. You feel like you're at the theater all
You
of a
know
sudden.
what?
Right.
We
They're
respect
talented.
it.
Yeah.
Yes, you respect the talent. It's just, it's not our cup of tea.
Yeah.
And I know the guys from Sabotage, kind of started that all up and everything. And I loved Sabotage when I was younger. I mean, I had the Dungeons Are Calling album and Sirens and, of course, Hall of the Mountain King and all that. I don't know if y'all remember any of that stuff, but
I remember like their record covers and seeing their ads in all the metal magazines, but I never really heard them.
And I seen them at the Windjammer and years ago, and that was cool. It was all original members. I think one of them died, and I forget the whole history of all that. Talented musicians. I mean, they really were. And then they came out with the Gutter Ballet album, which was kind of a rock opera thing. And then I started going, no, I'm not into this whole kind of Meatloaf meets,
That was their gateway into transcendence.
That's what I think. They started writing these gutter ballet, these operas and stuff, and then they probably had a $1 million idea, and
Ran with it. I don't blame him.
I don't blame him either. It's just I was just like, how many Christmases do we have to go through this?
It's like I said, man. When it comes,
I mean, when does it end?
we
As long as
we
there's
roll
one
with
of
like
every.
Nat King Cole and Burl Ives here with our Christmas stuff.
Yeah.
We keep it old school.
But hey, you got to blast the Gary Ho, the
Well,
Gary
sure.
Hoey,
Yeah.
the Ho Ho Hoey.
That's an
Christmas.
exception.
There's like 3 of those,
Right.
But I
you have to
definitely
blast
did not
those.
mean to offend anyone. It was just merely a joke. I thought
See,
someone...
I'll see that post tomorrow morning when I wake up.
Right.
Because Facebook sucks now. So I see posts from
Man,
this
I
morning.
know. Isn't that
I'll see
crazy?
it like now.
I know.
And then stuff from tonight I'll see tomorrow.
Right.
It's just like,
I know.
I'm
This was
just,
a few days ago, so
Right.
well,
you missed the boat.
I guess completely. I don't know.
I get on there sometimes and I just want to like mess with people, and I'll just have I'll say something and then it's sarcasm,
Right.
and people will answer it like I don't know what I'm talking about.
Then he gets a private message from me 5 minutes later. Hey, I think you might want.
What are you doing?
No, yeah, but we'll laugh because he'll say something that's very sarcastic, and inevitably there's one guy on there that does not think he's being sarcastic, and Izzy's not in the band anymore.
Right.
You win.
I saw that.
The only two
I
guys.
did see that.
The only
I
two
like
guys
that,
I'm
yeah.
wanting to see is
Right,
they're
Izzy
like,
Adler.
I don't think they're man. It's like, oh
But,
really?
they don't know you don't know.
I
so.
know,
They're
but
all- everybody's cool.
it's funny,
It's like
That's
this
awesome.
with people. It's all good.
It's like I was like all excited. That's okay. Well, they got a guy in there that looks like Izzy. Well, that's cool. I'm down with clones, or people that look like. As long as they look like them, I'm good with that. Well, there's a guy and he's the drummer, different race. And it's like, well, as long as he played on Use Your Illusion 1 and 2, I'm good with that. Well, I got news for you on that. So I just kind of just throw out that little fishing rod and see what I catch. But anyway.
I can't keep him in line, guys. I don't know, man. He just gets out of control.
Why would you want to?
Yeah, I don't, because I'm sitting there laughing at it too. It's like, oh, these people don't know he's joking. Oh man. But now they will. Now that we've exposed it. So. Anywho, what else?
Well.
What else you got?
I guess the obvious thing is Down for Five is back.
Yeah.
Kind of get into what made you guys decide that now's the time. I know whenever I was hanging out with you guys back in the summer, you guys said you were thinking about it, and then I guess within a month or two you went for it.
We were not sure how it all came together. I mean, we kind of have our ups and downs with the band, just marriages and this life, basically, and then we started our projects with me singing and stuff, and we just felt like back then it's just so hard, to be in an original band in Tulsa, Oklahoma. It really is. It's a struggle. I mean, even though there's people like, oh, we don't like cover bands, we don't like, this or that, and we kind of played both sides of the fence a little bit, but, just the fact that you had to, cram 3 bands and in a club and you play your set and then you have to hurry up and break all your shit down and then they got to hurry up and bring their stuff on. And it was just, you had to split the pot or the cover charge and everything. It was just always a big hassle just to do it. So we did the cover thing and we started doing that for a while. And I think we did the Down for Five a couple times.
Yeah, I mean, I'll go ahead and dive into it a little deeper than that because I don't think Syke would mind any of the comments that I intend to make here. But things didn't end well. I think everybody kind of saw that things did not end well when they ended. And you got to understand that band's problem from day one, going way back, was that we never really had that one solid drummer that was always there, like the 3 of us were. Just we would rotate. Guys would rotate in or out. Someone would quit. Someone would decide they weren't too into it. I mean, crap, there's even 2 drummers on the last album, which was challenging, very challenging. And so, when things kind of came to a head, it was basically over a disagreement, with, are we going to use a fill-in drummer? Because when we did the album and Carl Lowe came in and did some tracks for us, I was just really sold on Carl. I just thought, this is the guy that plays this material the way I like hearing it, the way it was intended to be played. I just like his style. And our drummer that did the other tracks on the album, to be quite honest, he just wasn't real into it. And I think even he would admit that. He had some other things going on in his life, and it was a little bit of an inconvenience to come do the tracks, and there was just some tension there, and didn't seem to be real comfortable with the situation. So those tracks were kind of rushed through. And so when Carl came in and did the few tracks that he's on, I just got really sold on him. I thought, this is our guy. This is our guy. This is our guy. Well, so we did our CD release party show, and it was great. And then there came an opportunity to do a benefit show at Cain's. And it was a situation where Carl couldn't do it with us, and we were going to have to use a fill-in drummer. And at that time, I was extremely burned out because not with Down for Five, but just in general. We were in a real heavy schedule with the cover band, just playing all the time, working our full-time jobs. Yeah. And I told Syke and Angel, his wife, I was like, guys, I just don't want to use a fill-in drummer. I just don't want to go through that. I either want to play with Carl, the guy I thought was our drummer, or I don't want to do it. I didn't want to roll something out there that I felt was less than the quality these songs are supposed to be. And I'm just being brutally honest. No offense to any other drummers, nothing. It's just how I felt. Yeah. And when I made that decision, it really caused some tension. It hurt some feelings, and there was a pretty big argument. And because I was so burned out, I said, you know what? I'm out. I'm done. That's it. Pulled the plug. Over. So it didn't end well. It was ugly. A lot of hurtful things got said. Too much stuff got said online. Hurtful comments, not just by us, but other people that were trying to come to maybe Scott's in my defense. I think some people took one side and some people took another, and it was just ugly. So anyway, that's 2013, and the thing just lays dormant for ever and ever and ever, and I never felt good about how it ended. It bothered me weekly. I thought about it all the time.
What's funny is on the album, some of the songs that we wrote with one drummer, the other drummer actually played on, and vice versa.
Yeah. That's kind of nice.
The ones we wrote with Carl was like Jesse played a lot of the drums on, and the ones we wrote with Jesse, Carl ended up playing the drums on. So there was.
And in hindsight, if we could go back and we could have done the whole album with Carl, and again, no offense to Jesse, he did the best he could in that situation at that time in his life, but the tracks were very rushed through. And in my opinion, it shows on the album. No offense, that's just my personal opinion. If I'm saying things that get me in trouble, so be it. But that's another regret, is like, God, we never straightened out the drummer situation, so much to the point that we've got 2 on the album. So stupid. I just, always our Achilles heel. So anyway, fast forward, I don't know, I think it may have been 2015. I'm in a dressing room at a store trying some clothes on or whatever, and I'm thinking about that situation, thinking about how it ended, thinking about Psych, thinking about Angel, thinking about what we lost. Phone goes off. It's Psych. It's like, man, can you call me? So that was the beginning of the healing process, where Scott and I started talking to him again and
It's
kind of
like 2 years without
this was like 2 years ago, before we even entertained the thought of getting the band going. So the process is slow. We're talking. And then just over the last several months, Scott and I hung out with him and Angel a little bit. And, he was struggling at that time as well with a lot of stuff. He would admit that. She has helped him a lot to get some stuff, straightened out. They're a good team. I mean, they're a good team. And so we're talking, and things are feeling good. And we start kind of, what if? But then, of course, we still have the obvious drummer situation. We had kind of thrown it out to Carl. Hey, would you want to come back? No, he wasn't interested. He's moved on in his life and busy with his stuff. And the cool thing about Matt Gordon, who's our drummer, who's the Down for Five drummer now, is he tried out for the band years ago. We're talking probably late 2000s. He would probably remember the year better than I would, but he didn't get picked, at the time. Someone else did. And I'm sure that probably ate at him, probably kind of bugged him. Like, man, it's going to bug anybody if they don't get something they're trying out for. So then when we got together for the first time just a few months back, and he came in and he just killed the material. Just killed it. And I felt so good, because I thought, what, not only are we healing a wound between, the 3 of us, but the wound existed between Scott and me and Psych and his wife Angel. So the 4 of us got that wound healed, and then Matt kind of got vindication. You know what I mean? Basically to say, all right, you guys didn't pick me back then, but look who's back now. Yeah. So it's kind of just a healing thing for everybody. And so that part of it's sweet.
So now we're going through these rehearsals, and relearning the songs was pretty wild, because, there's been years since I even picked up the bass guitar. Like, just sitting in the case, I didn't think I was probably ever play again, and she'd always bring, do you ever think about playing bass again? Like, I don't know. Having fun being a lead singer. Yeah. I just show up with my microphone.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, how did it feel getting back into the room with those guys the first time? And
the first practice was cool, because we learned like three songs, and now we're like up to like 7 or 8 whatever, and we just figured, okay, we started doing that, and then we got this show, because we were just going to start learning all of our songs. So it was not rushed. It was a good feeling. Now the second rehearsal was a different story.
Yeah.
And that one was just not. It was like they should have switched. Like the second practice should have been our first practice, and the second practice should have been the first.
It was a little rough the second go, but you got to figure, man, it's been a long time since we all played this stuff.
Yeah.
And you try to practice, but it's definitely shaping up, and it's starting to sound really good. And it definitely was. It was a little odd, but I knew I was in good shape with Scott whenever like he said, he's been singing all these years, and I kind of had the thought of, does he even want to play bass? And then I remember being in the front room, and he was in that little office, And when I kind of peeked in there, he's practicing and he's bobbing his head.
What?
And I thought, yeah, man, he's yeah, you were.
What are you
your
talking
head
about?
was bobbing.
I don't do that.
Yes, you do.
Oh, my
And I thought,
goodness.
okay, so he's, I think he's enjoying this. And I just felt like, all right, he's digging being back on bass. So, it's good. It's a good thing. And, I don't know that we're definitely not going to be like playing shows every month. It's going to be a pretty limited basis just because everyone's schedule's so crazy.
Well, and it makes it more of a special thing.
Right.
And, you might kind of make people want it more.
I hope so.
Right.
Like a few times a year or something.
And we're, thinking about, writing some new songs and then, hopefully we'll maybe record a couple tunes here and there and see what we come up with. We were actually thinking about writing some new stuff just for this first show, but then we thought,
ran out of time.
Let's just hit what we got on record. That way we can rehearse at home, and that we can listen to some of that stuff. And we're bringing back stuff that's not even on either one of the albums. It's so
Like on the
old.
demo.
We're doing stuff off the demo. We're doing Caricature. We're doing Lie in Wait, which is not even on any one of the albums.
Right.
So we're going old school. And then, so we thought about doing a new one, but, with such a short set,
Yeah, we'll be playing 6 songs.
Oh, okay.
We were going to do 7, and we timed it last night, and
ran over.
we would have just been right at 30 without talking or anything. And you can't just, you gotta say hello or something.
Yeah.
You know how those national shows are.
Yes, I'm sure it's.
You gotta skedaddle when your 30 minutes is up. You can't.
We were never a radio friendly band in the first place. Some of our songs are a good, 5 minutes, 6 minutes. 4 is like probably 4:50.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we're definitely looking forward to it. And like I said, just to be able to achieve the healing, and then for Matt to be able to, get the slot. It's just a good healing process for everybody.
Yeah.
Which I don't know if you said this already, but he was played when we opened up for Lita the first time.
I did not say that. Yeah, that's the funny trivia behind that.
He's
one.
coming back, and we're opening for Lita Ford again. And because that was the one show he played with us,
That's
opening
right.
up for Lita Ford.
Wow.
So he did already play it?
Yeah,
yes, one show.
He played with Down for Five on a few different occasions, correct? And
Lita Ford.
Your memory's better than mine. I know.
I think that was it.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I do.
Okay.
I believe that was it.
He can correct us if we're wrong.
But when you're playing a show like that, both Lita Ford and Jack Russell's music, you guys are heavier than both of them.
Yes.
So are you conscious of that? Do you?
Absolutely.
Well,
I was thinking about it today.
Yeah.
Very conscious of it.
Yeah.
Are you?
Well, if we're doing Bring Me Down, which is kind of, it's rocky, it's not too heavy. It's not tuned down to...
You Lie in Wait is very heavy.
You Lie in Wait, but it's got the kind of a groove to it, so maybe, do a little shaking your hair around a little bit, doing
that'll
some
help.
points or whatever.
That'll save us.
Put some jelly on that peanut butter a little bit.
You're gonna glam up your
Right.
your 7 dustish metal. I got you. But no, yeah, I actually was getting kind of paranoid, and I thought, you know what, that's stupid because it's still a melodic band. It's not like we're just completely unmelodic.
Yeah,
And you got the gig, so they know what they're getting into, So,
Yeah.
and we did it once already.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
Exactly.
So hopefully all will go well this time, and Lita can come out on time and do her thing. And
Yeah, that was
that was the show where
Yeah, I remember.
she wasn't going to play, right?
right. She stayed on her bus for forever.
Yeah.
And what sucked is we could have played a whole hour that night. We could have played a whole hour.
Right, that's true.
So by the time
that's how a lot of them are. We're not going to go on unless we get paid. So however it was.
Yeah.
the guys that are putting together all these shows at the IDL Ballroom, Tom Green and Doug Burgess. Doug is, he's kicking ass. He's bringing these bands in, and I think there's, he's wanting to put out another Streets Gone Wild. Maybe, I don't know, maybe it might be like a one day kind of thing.
Yeah. I think he's working on that.
Where there's, a few bands one night instead of it being two.
Yeah.
Which I love the two-nighters,
Yeah.
I mean,
that was a fun
Yes,
weekend.
it was. It was fantastic. Me
but
too.
them bringing these shows to Tulsa, to me, it's just, that's one thing that with Rocket Science that we, was a lot of fun to do because we get to play in these clubs and talk to people about this stuff, and they're like, oh yeah, I know who so and so is, or Dokken, or Cinderella. It's like, really cool. Hey, we got tickets.
Yeah.
And then you start talking to them, before the first set about these shows that we're doing, that weekend or the next weekend, and then by the time the second set, and they've had a few buckets of beer, then
I see how you work.
Boom, boom, boom.
No, a lot of people have just been super cool and messaged us and said, "Hey, we want to get tickets from you guys." So, that we've been very grateful for all the opportunities that Rocket Science has gotten, and we expect hopefully more to happen down the road.
Mm.
We've met some really cool people.
Yeah.
I mean, just meeting them at the Quick Trips or
Yeah.
meeting them, wherever, just selling them tickets because you get on those. Those events and people are like, hell yeah, hey, you guys need some tickets, without the service charges and all this stuff. And then
they get the physical ticket, which is fun for us old school people.
Mm-hmm.
You don't get the little printout on the computer.
Yeah.
But almost every show that we've done there, it's just a hell of a good time. I mean,
it's been great.
Well, I mean, you got to play with Dokken.
Yeah.
Talk about how that came.
my
How
gosh.
that even came. Yeah.
They came.
Go, talk about that.
That happened because of Doug Burgess.
Uh-huh.
And man, I just can't even begin to describe it. Did I tell you guys a story before about how we actually talked on the phone?
It seems like I remember something.
I got a text message and it's from Doug, and he basically was saying, "Hey, do you guys know any Dokken songs?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah, Alone Again, I think, or what does Janna know?" Well, I think you guys need to learn a song. So he's basically was trying to get the whole band to learn for us to learn a song, and I wasn't understanding why.
Mm-hmm.
And it was because he wanted her to be in top form without her knowing that she's going to play with Dokken. So it was kind of like we're trying to figure it all out before and they were like, "Don't tell Janna this, but try to get your band to learn a Dokken song." And I thought, I can't discuss this and get this going without her wanting to know the reasons why. Why do you keep asking about doing Tooth and Nail or In My Dreams? Why do you keep coming back to this? So I was like, I just told her. I was like, "Hey, this is what's going on."
But you talked to
Doug with the phone. Doug's like, "Yeah, just go ahead and tell her," and because no one was really for sure if she could even handle it.
Yeah.
Because they didn't really know how well, and they knew she was good, but is she that good to play George Lynch stuff? And so I finally had to tell her, and then that's when she started communicating with Doug about it, and then Don Dokken
called my phone.
Yeah.
Which was unreal. It was, what really sucked is Doug had told me a few days before the actual call, he said, "If you get a call from Beverly Hills, take it." I said, "Okay, Doug, you bet, man." Here I'm kind of like, I'm believing him, but I'm kind of like, okay, well, we'll see.
Yeah.
And then he and I are getting ready for our show, and I look down and I've got a voicemail. Phone didn't even ring. Got a voicemail, and it's him. "Hello, Janna." Deep voice. I can't begin to imitate it, but he left me a message to call him back. So we talked about the song itself. Are you okay with doing In My Dreams? I said, yeah, sure. I checked with him, like, what's your all's tuning? Are you in E flat? Cool, so am I. So that was all squared away. And then I think where I kind of convinced him that it maybe halfway knew what I was doing, I said, now are you guys still ending the song the way you did in the overseas tour last year with kind of the big hits at the end? Yeah, that's how we end it. I was like, cool, man. Okay, I got it. He said, do you want the solo? How about if you take part of the solo and John will take the other part? And I said, yeah, that's fine. Whatever you want. No, you know what? Just take the whole solo. So, okay, cool. Wow. So anyway, we get that all worked out. I said, okay, I'll see you there. So the day of the show comes around, and we got there early. In my heart, I was hoping maybe I'd get to run through it with them at sound check. So anyway, everybody but Don comes in, and those guys are up there kind of doing their check. Those guys being Dokken, minus Don. And they had me go ahead and come up. So we went through about half of the song at sound check.
Mick Brown had no idea. No one even knew.
No one had communicated that this was going down. So he's looking at me like, what the hell are you doing on the stage? Who are you? So, anyway, I guess somehow they figured it out, what was going on. So we got through half of it. Had to stop right before the solo because I was really wanting to just ease their fears, like, okay, she's not going to train wreck us or whatever. Mm-hmm. So we stopped right before the solo. But, they were cool. And then, of course, we did our set, and then it's getting ready to get me up there, and my legs were just like jelly, man. I thought I was going to fall over climbing up there because I was like, come on, pull it together, So I got up there, and it was just surreal. It was like it wasn't even happening.
That's insane.
But, I was relatively pleased with how I played it. I think I got pretty close on the solo, and I think I saw those guys kind of like, hey, so I think they thought I did okay. And then Mick Brown made a real nice comment in the green room after the show, basically saying, we've had people get up and play with us before, but you're good. You really had that down. You had your homework done. So that made me feel good. So it's cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun.
Yeah.
These guys are really
cool. I was like, when we were getting ready to do the Cinderella show, I was like, well, I guess it's my turn to get up and do Shake Me.
Doug didn't work that one out for you, did he? Come on, Doug.
Which that was a cool experience too.
God.
It's like all these shows, we get there and get to sit around and with our equipment waiting to load it up on the stage, and these guys are coming in doing their sound checks, and here comes Tom Kiefer with his pajama bottoms on and like snow boots or like mud boots or something,
He had a Nashville Predators t-shirt on, like hockey team.
And this looked like he just came
straight out of bed.
Straight out of bed, man, right off the bus in there, just walking around with his wife.
Boy, those guys did a really long sound check.
Really?
It was almost like a rehearsal. In a way.
Wow.
Yeah, it's really weird. They had their backs turned, and there were people that were supposed to be there for the meet and greets, and the whole time, I guess they weren't really supposed to have this rehearsal, and they're like I was talking to sound man, I said, what's going on? Because they wouldn't turn around and face anybody. They were just like gathered in their own little corner, their own little circle, looking at each other.
They're trying to iron out some parts, remember?
Right, and they just kept going over this part over and over and over and over. And I mean, we're like, man, are we ever going to get our shit on the stage? I mean, what's going on here? I mean, we didn't really know what was going on. The sound guy was apologizing. He's like, I don't know what the hell they're doing up there. They normally don't do this. And I was like, so he goes, but don't worry, we'll get you up there where, everything's good.
Mm-hmm.
Just they'll be done here in a minute. And so finally they turned around and then they did the meet and greet, and so we got to shake hands and take a picture with them and stuff. And so that was cool. It was a fun experience.
Yeah.
It really was.
Yeah, all these opportunities have been amazing. And we're just real grateful that we have gotten several of them. It's been awesome, man. We do appreciate everyone that's bought tickets from us, because that's a big, big, big help for our band.
Yeah. And it helps bring the shows, helps the motor.
Yes.
Exactly.
Running.
Yeah, he can keep doing them, as long as people keep supporting him.
That's right.
Cool deal.
Yeah.
Do you think being playing covers, opening up for a band like that you have an advantage over like an original band? Because a lot of times you see someone, a lot of people in the crowd not paying attention. It's a band they don't know.
Right.
But you guys are up there playing songs from the same era, from the bands they're there to see.
You know, there's that saying, you know, why cover bands shouldn't be doing that. But if it's from that era, why not?
It seemed to get people a little bit more fired up.
Right.
I thought.
I mean, that's our job. I mean, a lot of those people, I mean, sure, it's good for our originals, but man, if you really think about it, I'm not 22 anymore. I'm not trying to get a record deal. I'm not trying to, you know, go on tour or get us, you know, whatever. I'm not trying to make it big. I'm just trying to have fun. And that's the problem that people don't seem to grasp, that the reasons why we do certain things like a cover band is because we're out there having fun. Mm-hmm. Sure, there's a lot of pressure in learning songs and all that and stuff, and, you know, but the original, like I was saying earlier, is just the scene is just not what it once was. Mm-hmm. Now, to answer your question, we didn't know that first time, the first go around. But then you see these tribute bands these days, you know. You see these tribute bands with their, you know, their costumes and making themselves look like they're from the 80s and out there doing it. And they're doing a lot of these festivals that are mostly all original bands. And people are flocking to it and enjoying it because they know all these songs. Well, then you think, well, why don't we just do a whole bunch of songs from that era and just get them pumped up, get out there and say, hey, we're just here to party with you guys. We're going to do a bunch of songs from the 80s if you guys, you know, sing along with us. And so I thought, well, let's pick the songs that are mostly singables. Yeah. You know, because mostly if you're in a cover band, you want people to dance so they'll stick around longer and enjoy themselves, buy drinks and tip the bartenders. That's your whole job. Oh, yeah. You know? There at a concert, let's get them to sing along and let's let them, you know, play songs that they know. They already know Cinderella, they already know Dokken, they already know Warrant, they already know Firehouse, so they got to know some of these other songs too. So let's just pick out songs like Rock and Roll All Night. You know, they'll sing that shit all night. Oh, yeah. You know, if you played it, you know, for 20 minutes, they'll sing every chorus. So that's what we decided to do, is pick a lot of songs that were sing-alongs and liven up the crowd. And then, you know, we got a lot of praise just...
Yeah, I mean, the formula works. Like, to answer your question, okay, if you want to step back, and I need to choose my wording carefully here because I don't want to come across the wrong way, but I know there are critics out there saying, why is a cover band opening? Everything he just explained is why it works. And I can almost guarantee you the critics out there are musicians in other bands that wanted that spot. I don't blame them. Who doesn't want that spot, you know? But I felt a little weird, like the first time doing it, thinking, wow, man, we're a cover band opening. But then exactly what he just said is right. We're older. We want to relive our youth through this music. We embrace it. These people that come to these shows embrace it. 90% of the folks out there are not musicians. They're just music fans. They've had a hard week at work. They want to blow off some steam. They want to sing stuff they know. So it works. Now, that's not to throw shade on the original bands because, I mean, crap, we're doing one too. You know, we've written these songs from, you know, our souls, and we hope people like them. And when we play them at Lita, there's going to be a few people out there that know them, but a lot of people won't. But that's okay. I mean, both work. You know, there's both formulas work. There's a place for both type bands. I'm glad we're doing covers and originals. You know, doing two different bands, because then we can just explore the whole spectrum of our musical abilities and satisfy the cover side that's fun and challenging, and then satisfy the original side that is you know, very gratifying because it's the material you wrote. So we're living the best of both worlds right now.
Well, and you know, when I saw these shows starting to pop up and Rocket Science is opening, to me, I was like, that makes total sense, because for that era, I mean, that's perfect. You know, I mean, you can't really, like, you know, if you're like Soil or OTEP come to the shrine, you can't do that.
Right.
No.
But I mean, for Warrant and Firehouse,
Exactly.
it makes total sense to have a band and doing some more of those songs, and it gets everybody, you know. So.
And what was cool is we actually had I think it was the guitar tech or one of the guys from Firehouse, or maybe it's Warrant or somebody, but they actually thought it was awesome. Like, wow, that's unheard of.
Yeah.
Like they came up to us like, well, you guys are up there doing covers. Like, normally everywhere we go, every opening band is an original. But wow, how refreshing is it for a band to get up there and just do a bunch of covers and liven up the crowd? Because that's our job, you know, is to liven up the crowd. And okay, if you're a band from El Paso and Warrant's there, and you have 200 fans that know all your shit, that's great, you know, that's great. But a lot of original fans, I mean, they can't afford concert tickets. They're used to the $5 cover, you know, so it's hard to, if they've seen you a dozen times for $5.
Yeah.
Why would I come and see you for, you know, well, you know, your guys are opening for a couple of bands that maybe the original band, the local band's fans aren't a fan of. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm here to support you, but I'm going to see you in 2 weeks at the Hippity Hop Club, you know?
I just find that most of the criticism that we find out about through back channels that comes our way, most of it's being dished out by other musicians and other bands, and it's just it's a competition thing. Everybody wants their piece of the pie. I don't begrudge them that. I totally get it. You know, I myself, I mean, a lot of bands don't know that when I'm trying to help them, like I'll see a band that I think I would like to see them get a shot, so I'll drop a message to a club promoter, say, hey, check these guys out. You know, I'd like to see them at your club. And the bands won't even know I'm doing that. But for me, like, because we don't always, we aren't in the bars every weekend. We've got family stuff going on, stuff with our house that we're doing. So that's my way of trying to help others in the scene. And, you know, you do that and then you hear comments, and it's a bummer. It's a bummer when you find out people are kind of throwing shade on you for this reason or that. But I think that's just probably the competitive nature coming out in people. They're trying to get ahead, you know, get one up on you. So they'll throw some shade on you. But, you know, it's like Scott said, man, we're old enough. We've done this long enough to where we relish the opportunities we get. We appreciate them, and then
take nothing for granted.
Take nothing for granted, and then do what you can to kind of pass it along. You know, help these guys get booked at CJ Maloney's. Help these guys get booked at Magoo's. You know, turn Wild Hogs onto this band. I mean, I'm doing everything I can to like help people get opportunities, and I'm not saying that so you pat me on the back, but I'm saying I wish more bands would kind of take that approach, because there is a lot of cutthroat, backstabbing stuff that goes on. That's a shame. I wish it would stop, but that's like saying, man, I wish world peace would happen.
Yeah.
It never will. But you know, if do what you can to help the next guy out, because you know we'll be done soon. I mean, we're in our 40s. You know, maybe we got some more years in us, but do what you can to help the next guy along. You know, that's just the right thing to do.
Yeah. Yes.
So
and have fun.
Sorry. Yeah,
have fun. Gotta have fun. If you're not having fun, there's no sense in doing any of it.
That's right. So I want to talk about wasted years. Well, you know, whose idea? Did you want to sing that, or could you not sing it, or did you fight over it, or
Not at all.
She's already doing Trooper. So we picked a bunch of songs and we did like the Motley Crue medley, which Red Hot was part of that medley. But the end of the medley was like it goes to Shout, to Too Young to Fall in Love. Oh, I'm sorry, Shout, to Looks to Kill, Too Young to Fall in Love, and to Red Hot. And then it's the full Red Hot. So we just cut that off the medley and just did Red Hot at the end at the Warrant show. So we picked a bunch of like old school songs. She was already doing the Trooper.
Yeah.
And she, you know, a lot of people were like, loving her singing that song. Yeah. So then she got the idea of doing Wasted Years.
Yeah, it just was going over so well. And I love Maiden. I don't know, man. They're just cool. But I've always loved that song. I love, especially the lyrics apply to me a whole lot right now. Because I'm kind of going through this whole, wow, man, I'm 43, the whole midlife. I don't know if I'm in a crisis or not. But if you really focus on the lyrical content of that song, it's kind of deep. So I thought, well, let's try another Maiden, and I want to try singing that one. So this is when we were learning a whole batch of new songs about, 2-3 months ago.
Right. Jeff, our drummer, he's picked his, some like Judas Priest and something else.
Blue Monday, right?
Right. And then we did the Ozzy Bark at the Moon. So there's like a new batch of songs that we all decided to do. And it's crazy. It's almost like we went back to 1983, 82, 83 with the Hellion and, the Shout the Devil and the Bark at the Moon. That was a great year for music. Yeah. And then you got Iron Maiden, coming right in after that. And
it's kind of funny, the approach we're taking with Rocket Science. Like, I mean, you would think, okay, we need to really pick a lot of very marketable songs, and we've got our handful of, sing-alongs but dang, man, like with this last batch, there's just a lot of heavy stuff, and we've kind of been, I'm not going to say we don't care, we're just picking what we like, but in a way, we're picking what we like, and it's turning out to be some pretty heavy stuff, but yeah, it's working, so.
Well, like, as a guitar player, I mean, I know chords and stuff, but I mean, you're obviously really good at lead. How do you learn all these leads and then like slow them down, or I mean, can you just pick it up by ear like that? Because it's fascinating to me.
I'm somewhere in the middle of that. I don't slow it down, but I don't just pick it up like that. It's many. I don't read music. I wish I did, because I could do a lot more with my playing if I did, but. I do play by ear, and I always have. And ever since I was about 12, I would sit there with the boombox and rewind until I got my little chunk down, and then I'd move on to the next chunk. So it's the same thing with this stuff. I mean, I definitely do not play everything perfectly, but I get as close as I can. But with that one, I mean, I've always loved that song, so I kind of had the melody in my head, and it was just a matter of picking out the notes on the fretboard.
Even when we were writing Heroes and Devils, we were Janna, she writes a lot of her own stuff, and she likes to have it kind of mapped out, before she goes in the studio. But she's also will take like suggestions from other band members, like like I can write a solo, but it's with my mouth. You know what I mean? I hear the rhythm, and I mean,
you got to pick it up.
That's how we sometimes a lot of stuff when we were writing, we'll be like, that sounds cool, but what if you did it like this? I mean, and instead of me picking up a guitar and showing her what I mean, I'm like.
And he's always wants a pick scrape. Get a pick scrape in there. He was trying to get me to do one on this solo I did for Mark. I came home from recording.
Do some John 5 tricks,
Yeah. I came home from the recording. He's like, sorry, there was not a good spot for the pick scrape. So didn't do one. But yeah, it's just a lot of, I mean, when we learn new songs, man, I'm in there for 3 hours a night trying to pick, like Bark at the Moon. Yeah. I still don't play that completely right, but I get close. Mm-hmm. But, like Scott was saying, one thing I do regret about my playing is, remember how when they talk about Rat, they always talk about what a great lead player Warren DeMartini is, but it was Robin Crosby who did the writing. Yeah. Well, I'm not to say I'm like Warren DeMartini, but I wish I had a little bit more strength in the writing side. Mm-hmm. And, I mean, I think I used to, but I think I've kind of lost a little bit of that. So hopefully I'll get some of that back. But yeah, I mean, Scott definitely, he's a good writer. And he'll come up with cool ideas, and I'll be able to translate it to the fretboard. So it's good teamwork.
Nice.
Yeah.
What about singing at the same time as you're playing all that stuff? Like, did that come naturally, or was that
No, that
took a while to get?
That takes work. It's
Right.
hard. This band, Rocket Science, I mean, I've never been so challenged in my life as far as, I mean, like I play Bring Me to Life by Evanescence. It's got that, and so I'm having to chug on a completely different rhythm than what the vocals are. And that's so hard. It's so hard to do that. But just lots of repetition. I mean, we play enough to where, by 8 shows in, you're like, okay, I'm starting to get a little more comfortable with this, but it is not natural for me at all. It's totally like split brain. I don't know how guys like Geddy Lee do what they do.
And then in Down for Five, I mean, there's songs we're doing 3-part harmonies and
having to play a lead and sing
right
at the same time. It's tough, man.
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
It is. I mean, even like I'm used to singing. I was always singing backups in all my other bands, prior to Down for Five and playing bass. But, there was one band I was in with Mark and Matt Brantley. It was a band called Nothing Face. Not the Nothing Face, but...
I remember, I remember you talking about that.
And we were like, hey, how about you sing a couple songs? And I would sing like some Kiss tunes or whatever and playing bass, but I remember just how tough it was to sing and play bass at the same time.
Yeah.
And I think if I would have just kept doing it back then, and I would have been way better, but then I stopped, and then I just, sang backups in my other bands while I'm playing bass, but never lead. I just it's just kind of hard, like she was saying, at the same time, it's like, chewing gum and walking at the same time.
It's tough, definitely.
And so in this band, or Down for Five, you're moving around and you're out of breath and you're playing, and then you have to sing and you got to speak in key. It's like a whole new ball game. Mm-hmm. So it's like one or the other, either lead sing over here or play bass and maybe do some backups.
See, I don't have that luxury. I have to do.
You got to do it.
Yeah, if I'm going to be doing this stuff.
Well, with all in all your gigging with all the different songs you guys have to learn, have you ever just blanked out and forgot a line or something
all the time,
or just holding all that in's got to be insane.
Oh yeah, the original stuff. It seems like it's so much easier to remember playing the guitar or the bass than it is actually with the lyrics and all that shit.
Well, yeah,
thousands of words.
Yeah, that's true.
I remember when we used to do Paranoid, I'd sing it, and I've literally heard the song a million times since I was a kid. It should be emblazoned in my brain.
Right.
But when you get up there to do it, the whole second verse, I just forgot it, And I mean, so I'm sure on stage it's totally, it's totally different.
Oh yeah, it's scary.
You guys know, I know. Now, have you ever played in a band, Trent?
No.
Okay, you know how it is when you'll be on stage and maybe something will be happening in the crowd, and you'll kind of start focusing on that, and you completely forget what you're supposed to do.
Right.
Yeah, I've done that, or your mind will just wander off, like, dang man, did I unplug the iron before I left? It's like, oh yeah, I've crashed and burned doing that kind of stuff numerous times.
Falling is never fun either. I've done that a few times.
Yeah, I actually
climb
did
on
that
stuff you're not supposed to be climbing on.
I did that at Warrant. You guys didn't see it, but I bit the dust there. I did. I was having a rough time anyway because I think I had a bad cord on my amp and it wasn't getting all the full sound I wanted. So that was just insult to injury. I'm screwing with the cord, trying to get it plugged in, turn around, step down on my cord, and my foot went, and I went down right there in front of everybody.
Yeah, I didn't see that.
Yeah, good. I'm glad.
If you hadn't told me, I wouldn't have
Well, just keeping it real.
I can't remember who, I'm drawing a blank, but a while back we were talking to someone in a touring band, and the singer, and he said that he forgets lines and he
makes them up.
Yeah, and he said, I don't care what people think. They make fun of Ozzy for having a teleprompter. He's like, if I ever get to a point where we can afford a teleprompter, I'm damn sure going to have a teleprompter on the stage.
You know what?
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with it.
I
I don't
don't
care what
think
people say.
Every band that I see nowadays, especially big bands, and
You see some with iPads now, the stuff there.
oh yeah, I mean every casino gig you go to, they got like every member has one
Yes,
now.
yeah, no
It's not
kidding.
just. And what's so cool is like you can even have one to where it's got the notes for your guitar and the words. So I mean you got like double cheating stuff going on.
It's not cheating.
But
No, I would totally do that if I was doing something like that. There's nothing wrong with it. Whatever it takes to, I mean, short of, running tracks or samples or something, whatever it takes to pull the song off.
Let's talk about that too.
Okay.
All right? You're Mr. Anti-Track, aren't you?
I mean, no. I mean, when it gets to a point, like there's some bands where, I mean, they're just not even
Static X.
yeah.
Where
Don't
they
talk about
not playing? Were they?
I just brought that up because someone...
It was the singer Stain was on Jamie Josta's podcast, and they were talking about this, and he goes, "Man, no disrespect to Wayne Static because he's passed on, but there wasn't much any of that band was doing. It was all tracks. They were just up there mimicking, and I was like, wow, that guy just died. You might want to dial that
Do we
back
want
a
to
little
get into
bit."
this or not?
I don't care. It's
Okay,
fine.
I want to address.
We
I want
use tracks.
I want to address
in
this.
rocket science.
I actually want to address this. I don't know if we're short on time, but
No, we're not.
now that it's brought up, one of the criticisms that I've heard about it,
And I'm not backtracking now because there's levels.
okay, because I used to be no tracks, anti-track. I hated them. And
Down
then
for Five doesn't use them.
No, Down for Five does not use them, and probably never will. But with Rocket Science, we made a conscious decision up front to use them because the whole concept of the band is larger than life, big. We're on a limited budget. We have limited equipment, but you've seen our stage setup. I'm not talking for the opening slots. I mean, like when we do our full show.
Definitely.
So the decision was made to use them, and I will say we do not lip sync, we do not play, but they are utilized because we cannot afford to pay a keyboard player and or second guitar player. B, there's not room on our stage for one or two, and quite frankly, again, we have to talk about the difference between the musicians in the crowd and the music fan in the crowd.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
If we were going out there to please the musicians in the crowd, we'd be so screwed because those guys have already made their decision about us that they don't like our tracks. There's a few out there that they get it.
Yeah.
But the
ones that use
tracks
them.
the tracks are utilized. The tracks are utilized for the music fan to come and feel like they are hearing the real song.
Yeah.
Now you take that for what it's worth. You may be like, nope, I still don't buy it.
No, I mean, like you said a minute ago, you're singing and you're playing. So that's my thing.
We're singing,
that's what I meant.
We're singing our harmony. She's singing hers with, the enhancements of
we call them support tracks because that's essentially what they are there to fill in the sound,
right?
Just to round it out, to make it sound a little more authentic.
Is they're our own, like there's stuff like, okay, well, during my solo I want a rhythm underneath this, and we don't have another guitar player, so we're in our garage bringing over the recorder, and Janna's laying down the rhythm track, And so then we feed that in there, or we're in there doing the backups or whatever, if it's like a big, we're not gonna take, two people can't get that, they can't get that sound. And that was the thing with Rocket Science. We wanted to have the audio, the visual, the look, all this stuff,
Well, and that just shows the more work you guys put into this,
You all don't even know.
Yeah.
Like, especially Jeff. I would dare say he has put thousands, not hundreds, but probably thousands of hours into programming.
Yeah.
And you know, there's going to be people that listen to this that go, I don't care. I still don't like him. That's fine. That's fine. That's probably a musician saying that.
Yeah.
But
And they're
I
probably
challenge.
not coming to your show.
They're not. Or if they do, they stay for 5 minutes, make their judgment call, and walk out and leave. We're not playing for them. We're playing for these people that work their asses off all week, that like this music. They want it to sound cool. They want it to look cool. That's who we're playing for.
And a lot of those people, they either don't have a drummer that knows how to keep time.
No, and that's true.
Or
it takes talent to stay on.
talent. I mean, we have in-ears that it's click track. It's,
Oh, wow.
and if I get off and make the drummer push, or you fuck up, that's game over.
I think in our 3
it's
years,
hard. It's hardcore. When we first started that, it was scary because we weren't used to it,
right?
And they were. So they're like trying to ease our fears. Well, this is what we need to do. This is what and we have cues and things in your in-ears, and there's telling you, like a cat noise is hers or whatever. You hear these different these different like signals in your in-ears. And it's basically telling you, hey, this is your part
solo
coming up, or whatever. Wow. So, and everything is ding, ding, ding. And so the drummer's got to stay on that.
Yeah, I mean, Jeff cannot get his metering off or the song Trainwrecks. I think in our 3 years together, we've had maybe 2 or 3 instances where he's just bailed out of the track. And and we don't use tracks on all of the songs, but there's a good chunk that have them just to fill in the sound, but he's got a little button on his pad that says "Oh shit," and so you hit that, and the track just goes dead.
And then it sounds then
it sounds thin, like
right, sounds thin, and which is crazy because we would do like the medley, for instance. We didn't have a track for Red Hot,
right?
But we had tracks for all the others, and then we did it live, and then we went into Red Hot, and then we were like, hey, the bottom fell out. What the hell?
Wow.
So then the next week I was at Mark Mortensen's house recording a rhythm track for Red Hot. So that's me on the rhythm track.
Yeah.
So again, take it for what it's worth. There's going to be people that just hate him. I mean, you got people out there putting slogans on their Facebook pages, 100% real, no tracks, and and that's fine and dandy, but it's a decision we made. I'm comfortable with it. I love using tracks now.
Once you go tracks, you'll never go back. I'm telling you.
And quite honestly, a lot of the big boys use them, man. If you go to Vegas, I mean, I saw someone kind of, I don't know if they were dissing on Steel Panther, but they said they were surprised at how many tracks they use. But it's just, it's done. Now I'm with you guys. If you are just up there lip syncing and it's a computer playing everything, that's not cool.
Right.
But when it's just used as filler, I just don't have a problem with it anymore.
That's basically what we use it for, is filler. Because if it stopped, we'd keep going. I mean, we know how to play, we know how to sing. It's not anything like that,
And we know we're not everyone's cup of tea, and that's fine. Some people just prefer it stripped down. They don't want to see all the bling bling, boom, big stuff going on. That's cool, but this is how we, I don't want to say this is how we want to go out, but in case this is our last cover band, I'm glad that we're going out with a bang.
Yeah, definitely are. Yeah.
So we'll see. I don't know when we're going to be done, but the reality is we're all getting older. So we'll see how many more years our bodies will hold up.
But it is cool to have those keyboards sometimes, you wouldn't have.
Richards is like 30 years older than you.
Anyway,
Sammy Hagar just turned 70.
Yeah, you'd have these keyboards, that normally you wouldn't have, and it just sounds, empty without things.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like she said, it's like if we had tons of money, we could afford all the best musicians, and the biggest stages, you can't fit 7 people. I mean, I see these bands and what, they all tight up there, and they're not putting on a show. We want to put on a show. We want to move around. We want to, act like we're in 1985. And you can't do that when it's all jumped up or jumbled up with other guitar players and keyboard players and a flute and a saxophone. And
it's just the conscious decision we made, and we're comfortable with it. And if other people don't like it, that's fine.
Yeah.
Musicians that are listening, play for your music fans. Don't play for other musicians, because you're fighting a losing battle there, because everybody's competitive. So just do what makes you happy. play for your people that love you and love your music, and don't worry about anything else.
Yeah, we sleep good at night. Just so we sleep really well.
Yeah, it's taken me a while to get there because I'm a people pleaser and I want everybody to like me, but that's just unrealistic, and I'm starting to grab onto that a little bit better. To each their own.
That's right. I had to go shoot my mouth off. Now I feel
well,
like a heel.
No, don't, because I respect your opinion. I just
a lot of people hide it,
they don't want to admit that they use them.
But it's no different than someone doing it live, Robert Mason sang backstage with Ozzy.
Well, doesn't he also have a wig?
Who?
Robert Mason?
Oh, I don't know about that. Probably. Like Cinderella had.
Right. He's hiding that, right?
I don't think it's a wig because you can see how it's kind of thin there. At the... What? Oh my God!
I don't know. I've heard rumors, so I don't know. I mean,
hey, Joey Allen accepted fate just like I did.
Yeah, no kidding.
But no, Rocklahoma Cinderella had a third guitarist backstage behind the amps.
Well, what about, did you guys go see Black Sabbath last year?
No.
I wanted to.
I'm not shitting you. Rick Wakeman's kid was their keyboard player, and they kept him, he was on stage, but he was in a big black curtained booth where you couldn't see him. And then when Ozzy, introduced the band, he goes, "Oh, and on keyboard we got Adam Wakeman. Say hi, Adam." And the little curtain opens up and his little head pops out. And he's like, and then he goes back in. It's like, why don't you just bring him out on stage or just put him back behind the stage? It was like this big, huge black booth on the out on the stage. What?
I'll bet that goes on
so
more
weird.
than we know.
Yeah. And like I said, I it's when it's used in excess. When people are mimicking along and lip syncing and stuff. That's what I meant. Let me make that totally clear.
No, I totally and I agree 100% with that. I mean, there, like I said, there's still people that still look at even the way we do them as cheating. I just can't care about that. I have to not care. Yeah. I mean, it used to really bug me, man. I used to really just struggle with, this person doesn't like us because we use tracks. Well, this band is not for that person then. But, we've got some really cool people that come see the band, and that's who we play for.
I feel like we're one of the hardest working bands or musicians for, especially,
I would
rocket
so.
science. I mean, we're just constantly, you know how hard it is to wake up on a Saturday morning, and have to go up there and after a long week of work and lift all that crazy shit up on that stage.
Yeah, we do our load-ins at 11 a.m., 11:30. We do the load-in and sound check, and we usually aren't out of there till, 1:30.
Right.
So it's about a 2.5 hour ordeal just to get loaded in. Then you go back and you play your 3 1-hour sets, and then the teardown is probably another hour and 15 minutes.
Maybe 2.
Because of just, again, we've picked our poison. We've chosen to have this elaborate stage show so it doesn't set itself up or tear itself down. But
I wish we had tracks to use for roadies. If we could have tracks for roadies.
Well, it's been a long time since the last time we had you guys on, so a lot of people might not have heard this, but how heavy is that stuff you guys have on stage?
Well, we have to constantly upgrade. Jeff will go into, he'll
get a new stage vision.
Right.
This design we've got now, we've had it for quite a while. The first setup, it was so heavy I cried one night, and that's when Jeff decided, okay, we need to make this stuff lighter.
Right.
Because it was it's probably the beam that was used on the cross on Calvary is just heavy.
Man,
trying to lift this. They had all these, and like I said, I just broke down and cried because I was so tired.
And it had wheels on it, it?
That one was horrible. That was the first setup
wheels
where the triangles
that would move on gravel. You're trying to, That was so
as
heavy.
The band has gone along, there's still some heavy pieces. Our triangles that we use, I would say they're more awkward than heavy.
Right.
But it's a 2-person job to get that on and off. And
everybody has their own little job that they do.
Mark
their own
has
designated.
to hang the front of
Yeah,
house.
Mark's
so
smart.
he's up on a big ladder.
Doing all the lights, and so there's a lot that goes into it. I mean, it's like a full day of work. It's actually longer hours and less pay, or than our.
Yeah, when you do the hourly rate, it's like, oh my God, what
Right.
are we doing?
We look at the time we arrive, the time we leave, the time we come back. It's almost like our lunch. Our lunch hours, 3-4 hour lunch period, and then we go back, and then we're there for another 5 hours.
It makes for a long day.
And then Sunday is just crash and burn. I mean, it was like,
yeah, I don't feel normal till
don't
Tuesday.
mess with me, don't call
Really?
me, don't, I don't want to get online.
It's really
football and
yeah, it's
a lot
really
of
why
water.
we can only play. I mean, even if we wanted to play more, which we shouldn't, because oversaturation will kill a band real quick. But if we wanted to play more, I don't think we physically could. It's just it's rough, but it's worth it, man. We're proud of our setup, so.
Yeah. Work hard. Everyone in the band works really hard.
Yeah. These guys we play with, Mark and Jeff, and Ginger too. She runs our sound. Everybody it's a sacrifice, man. It's a lot of sweat.
Yeah. Your family, your cats, your your animals, whatever. They all gotta
don't laugh.
Take a back seat, man.
Those poor cats don't understand.
I just imagine the guys that are on tour all the time. It's nothing. I mean, but they choose that to be their life. So. If they have we would never be in a position to do that, because we would then have to sell our house and get rid of everything and sacrifice everything to live in a van and eat ramen noodles. I did that, been there, done that.
Yeah.
I'm not going back to that.
Isn't it funny how much you change from your 20s to your 40s? Because I've really started to just embrace routine. I like routine.
Yeah. Once I'm home from work, I'm not going out anywhere.
Right.
I'm there, and it's like I look like some of these bands starting out. It's like, how can you just live in a van? I mean, I need a shower every day. There's just no freaking way I could do that,
I guess it's because.
How did I ever want to do that,
We didn't know any better.
My cousins, they're in a band from Columbus, Ohio.
Mm-hmm.
They're in their 30s, And,
but it's just the two of them.
It's a bass player, and he plays keys and bass, and a drummer, and the guy plays bass and
they're called
keyboards.
The Receiver.
They're called the Receiver, and they have a couple of albums out. And they actually got a record deal.
Wow,
they're cool, man.
They went on their own tour, and I was like, hey, you guys come to Tulsa. They play downtown, and I don't know what bar it was, but
I can't remember.
Anyway, they came rolling into Tulsa, and I said, "Hey, just come and stay the night at my house, and that way you guys can have a meal and a shower and a place to lay down in." But they're staying in their van and just stopping at YMCA's, or they had a membership, and they were going. I'm talking. This is like a list like this when you see small print of all the cities and dates that they were going to, and it was just them two, one driver, the equipment in the back. When the guy would sleep, one would sleep on the back of the seats, and the other one on a floorboard, and they would put a hard cardboard or something down there to where it levels, because it sinks.
I couldn't do it.
Well, we interviewed one band. Well, they were all the I Apollo. You remember them?
Yeah.
But they were 19 or 20. But what they did, they all got Planet Fitness memberships, so that way they could go to all the Planet
smart.
Fitnesses and take showers and whatnot.
Wow.
And then and they'd sleep in the parking lot.
No
Of
kidding.
what town to town they went to, and I was like, that's actually a good idea if you're going to do that, I guess. Because it's only $10 a month,
Right.
So
that's
how
pretty
they did it.
ingenious,
Yeah.
really. I still.
That's what
wouldn't
they
do
had,
it.
a membership to YMCA,
Yeah,
so they'd get there.
That's what, when you said that, I immediately thought of that band.
I mean, you had to figure that stuff out,
Yeah.
I had a revelation was it 2006? We went to Hollywood with Down for Five. This is when it was you, me, Psych. Jesse was our drummer at the time, and then was Toby with us?
Mm-hmm.
So I knew I wasn't cut out for that lifestyle. When we had been in the band for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours, and it stunk, and everybody was sleep deprived, and I'm a light sleeper anyway. I just have to have my certain things to fall asleep. Well, these guys are no problem. They're out, you know. And I remember we were in some parking lot, and I crying. I cry a lot, I guess, but you know, I wanted them to let me out of the van so I could lay on the parking lot and sleep, because I wanted out of that damn van so bad. That was when I realized, you know what, this ain't gonna work, man. So that was when I gave up my dream. And then Rocklahoma 07 solidified that. No, that was a great experience. We were hoping something would come of that, and it didn't. So that was kind of when reality started setting in of, hey, this is going to be a cool hobby.
Well, Trent needs to turn that off because I got to hear this Robert Mason thing.
All right. Pause.
Well, thanks for doing this.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks. Yeah, we appreciate it.
No problem,
This is awesome.
man. Thank you.
There you go, Scott and Janna of Down for Five and Rocket Science. Both these bands fantastic at what they do. Really excited that Down for Five is back. Glad to see them. They'll be out there, like we said, at the IDL Ballroom this Friday.
Yeah.
And I know they've already announced a show for like way next year. It's like in June with Doxy. Mm-hmm. But I'm sure they'll do something in between there as well.
Oh, definitely. It's great to talk to these two, and you know, they put so much care into everything they do, and their passion for what they do is just it shows. So it was great to talk to them again.
Definitely. Yeah, their other band, Rocket Science, plays in Tulsa at least twice a month.
Yeah, they're always out. Yeah.
Magoo's in Tulsa. I know they play somewhere in Owasso a lot, and then they play CJ Maloney's and Broken Arrow a lot. So if you're in the Tulsa area, you always get a chance to see them, and they're a fantastic, not just fantastic band, but like you said, they put a lot of effort into this, and they talked about it in the podcast, and there's way more that you get from their show than you do a normal bar cover band.
Exactly.
You get a full-on production, you know, and they pull out all, kind of like he mentioned this thing, you know, I remember when we saw him open for, what's the last show we saw? Warrant, when they opened for Warrant.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, they had a short, like 30-minute set, and they played Motley Crue, and you know that if someone's playing Motley Crue, there's like 3 or 4 different songs they're going to be playing, but they played Red Hot.
Gotta love
and
that.
I'm like, that's why I love these guys.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, get out there and see Rocket Science if you get the chance. Down for Five, you know, has a CD you can buy, so get on there and buy that.
They got a couple of them, I think.
Yeah. So yeah, once again, thanks to Scott and Janna. We appreciate it. And if you're feeling nostalgic, go back to episode 7. I'm actually afraid to listen to that. You know, I'm sure they're awesome, but that's the first interview we did. I wonder what we sound like. I don't know.
That's why I don't listen. Honestly, I'll admit that's why I don't listen to a lot of them, because I know I sound like a moron ball bag.
You always sound great.
I don't know about that. I don't know.
I listen to every one of them because I got to make sure there wasn't anything I missed that like flub ups or something.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. I suck.
Oh, whatever. If you want to listen to other ones, we just mentioned Great White. Mark Kendall has been on this podcast twice. Obviously, that's a different version of Great White, but it's still a great. They've got
All good stuff.
Couple great albums out with Terry now, and both his episodes were great.
We love both versions of the band. It's all great.
Of course. We've had on other bands we mentioned, Firehouse and Warrant. Rocket Science opened for them. Both of them have been on here. We've had on guys from Lillian Axe, Bullet Boys in Europe.
Yep.
And then Trickster as well. And then we branched into the heavier stuff, Corrosion and Conformity. We've had on Gene Simmons of Kiss.
That's right. Bruce Kulick of Kiss.
Yes. We've had on guys from Crowbar and Super Joint. He is Legend, speaking of.
That's right.
We just recorded another one yesterday
with
Skylar, the lead singer of He is Legend. That should be coming out in the next couple weeks.
That's a good one, too.
Yeah, we also recorded one with Brent from U.S. Bastards and Gore, and that one should be coming out here in the next couple weeks as well. Like I said, there's 149 other episodes. There's a lot of them where we just talk as well.
Yeah, yep.
You can stream all those on YouTube at The Thunder Underground. You can stream them on SoundCloud.com/Thunder-Underground. And you can also listen to us every Monday night on 1027WSNR.com, 7 p.m. Central. We stream there. Anything else we need to talk about? Well, I mentioned YouTube.
Yeah.
We've mentioned many times over the last 6 months that we're going to do this Kiss episode of every album in a row where we go through the whole catalog.
That's right.
And we're getting closer because now CJ McClellan from Grind has agreed to be on this, and he's listened to the whole thing, and he's ready to go.
Nice.
So
nice.
The three of us are going to be doing that here, I assume, in the next couple weeks. So
I can't wait.
This will finally be coming to fruition.
And we're gonna start an offshoot podcast, okay? And it's about the Grateful Dead, and we're going through every one of their songs alphabetically, one by one. Each song is an episode of the podcast. So
the Alpha Dead.
Yes, the Alpha Dead. So we're going to do that. That should be fun. That'll take us probably about 20 years.
Right.
So get ready. Be on the lookout for that.
I can't wait. Like I said, SoundCloud, follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all that great stuff. Thanks again to Scott and Janna. And until next time.
Have I said anything that's going to get me in trouble?
I don't think so. I don't know. Maybe with them, but not me. So.
What? What did I do?
I'm just being dumb.
No. I've been thinking all day.
Thunder Underground, y'all.